Oftentimes, in the organic chemistry lab, we have a solution with our desired product dissolved in some solvent. And we could remove that solvent in several ways. We could use a distillation apparatus, we could boil the solvent away on a hot plate, or we could use what's called the Rotovap, or the rotary evaporator. This is basically a large distillation setup. We have a heat source, a hot water bath, that we turn on. We generally set to around 40 degrees. Then we affix our flask to the end of this arm. Sometimes we'll have what's called a bump trap, and that prevents our solution, in case it boils rapidly and foams and bumps, from contaminating the rest of our Rotovap. The bumping will be contained into this flask, and then we can disconnect the apparatus and drain it back into our flask. So we have our heat bath. We're going to gently warm the flask. That will increase the rate of evaporation. This arm is designed to rotate. We turn it on right here, and we can adjust the speed of rotation with this dial. This rotation will coat the walls of our flask with a thin coating of the solvent. That will increase the surface area of the solvent and allow for more rapid evaporation. Our entire goal here is to get our solvent off of our desired product as quickly as possible. And so then we'll use this arm here, turn it to the left to unlock it, gently push down with two hands, turn this to the right to lock it, and now my flask is sitting in the warm water bath. It's being warmed and it's being rotated. I could even speed this up a little bit. So next, after the vapors come out of our flask and into this chamber, we have this coil. This coil is filled with ice water, and it's where the vapors will condense, just like the water-filled condenser on your distillation setup. The vapors will condense into liquid, they'll drip down the coil, and eventually find themselves in this collection flask. This collection flask will have pure solvent in it. We could either reuse the solvent or dispose of it in an appropriate manner. This bucket is filled with ice water, and it has a submersible pump in it. So it's pumping ice water into this condenser, and that's being recirculated into the bucket here, and that keeps this condenser at ice temperatures. Lastly, we have our vacuum. This vacuum is attached to the Rotovap, and it will put the entire set of glassware under reduced pressure. That will also increase the rate of evaporation. So we're going to turn this on. And we can see that eventually our ether will start to evaporate. So we can see that it's starting to drip down this wall and into the receiving flask. At some point, we will be done with the Rotovap, and so we will release the vacuum with this valve, turn off the vacuum, turn off the rotation, turn off the power, raise the setup, and remove our flask. The last thing we want to do, after turning off the heat bath, is to dispose of the solvent we collected in the solvent collection flask. So when you're using the Rotovap, your instructor will be happy to show you how to use it at first, and if you ever have any questions about using it, please ask your instructor.